Hey guys, how's it going? Luke here. So we've got a rig built. Now, I am not going to show you how to build a rig. I went through 2 iterations of the rig. I'm currently refining that rig, and there are so many resources. Again, like I said, with character modeling on the internet to learn from. To learn from me would be silly because I am not an expert rigger. I'm not an expert at any of this stuff in any way. I'm just trying to share with you guys some of the tips and tricks and pipeline flow techniques that really helped me out. So if you've gotten into rigging before and you're realizing that you've messed something up with the rig, something is not rotating right, or you have rotations left and the control isn't working, then if you run into this problem, you know you need to debind the skin and you need to or unbind the skin in minus language, and then fix the rig, then rebind the skin. And that can be a huge hassle because weight painting can take forever. It's super difficult to get that motion looking just right. And especially if you're not using a third-party plugin, it can be really difficult to get the mirroring working correctly within Maya's native weight painter. So what I just want to show you is a simple tool that I wish I knew from the beginning. If you go up to the skin menu under the rigging interface, you'll see export and import weights, and these have saved my life. So anytime I need to make an adjustment to the rig, I can simply export my weights, fix the rig, import my weights after I rebind my skin to my skeleton, and I'm good to go. So that is the first thing that has really helped me out with this rigging process and getting everything set and ready to go. The next thing I wanted to show you is kind of when you get to the animation process, there's issues that you can have when you'll realize that an issue pops up with rigging or weight painting or something's not right. So if you have all these animations and you realize, oh man, this left finger joint has been messed up for every single one of these animations, I got to fix my rig. That's where referencing rigs comes in extremely handy. So let's move over to one of my animation files so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here I have a walking animation, and it is not the best. I'm not an animator, but it is something. So I've got my walking loop right here. Let's say as I'm coming through here, I realize, and I did realize this during the creation of this, I should have videoed it, but let's say we realize that there's a pop in the skin, and it's not coming from the joints because you've gone in here and you looked at your joints and they're not moving around. There's just something weird going on with the mesh, so you need to smooth out that weight painting. Well, what I do for all my animation files is I reference the rig. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to take a copy of your master rig from a separate animation scene and reference it into the scene, so you're really just working with that one rig that's in a separate scene for that file. So if I realize that there's a mistake here and I haven't referenced it, I can either go back into each and every single animation scene and fix that problem on the individual rig, or if I've referenced it, I can go back to that initial Maya scene that we were just in. I can fix it there, and then within each different animation scene that I've got, I can re-reference that file. I also think it's very important to keep separate animation scenes, so Maya scenes, for every separate animation. And I'll talk about that in a second. But first, how would we reference a rig? So let's pull up a new scene here. So I've got a new scene. It's completely blank, and I want to reference in my model so I can make some changes. So what I can do here is go to, let's see, is it file? Yep, file, create reference. So I'm going to create a reference, and I'll have my window pop up. From in here, what I'm going to do is go to my initial rig. So it's my new rig in here, and I am working from my character's name, what it is, version 4 is the actual version of the character, and 5 is the version of this specific character. Okay, so 4 iterations on the model for this guy, 2 different iterations on the rig. So if I reference this file here, and I reference it in, give it a couple seconds, and this file comes up. Now, this is not its own new model. This is intrinsically linked to that scene that I just referenced it from, like I was saying earlier. So if I start turning these things on, I'll see that I've got all my controls here. I'm going to leave that in. And if anything messes up within the scene, or I realize that something's messed up, or God forbid I break the rig in this scene, I can simply go and update my reference. So I'll go to File up here, and I'm going to click on Reference Editor there, and we've got all these options. Now, I always forget what the different things are, so I just hover my mouse over it for a second, and I look at my tooltip, hoping that a tooltip comes up. Reload reference file. So here we go. So I found a mistake. I went back to my original file. I fixed the mistake. Then all I have to do in my animation files is come in here and reload the reference file. And so once the reloaded reference file is in, I am good to go. Yeah, and I'm sure there are all sorts of extra fun things we can do with this, but I'll let you dig into the documentation to figure that out. So finally, let's talk about animation. So now I'm in my run animation file. I've got this thing kicking, and okay, it's not the best, but it's good enough to get into the game, and I want to come back later and redo it. But I want to make it so that I can redo this animation as much as I want and not have to worry about re-importing the animation and setting up a new animation blueprint in Unreal every single time. There's actually an issue that I haven't fixed yet with this one where you can see that I've got my ponytail clipping through my back right here. So that clearly needs to be fixed. So I could come in here and I could actually fix this guy right now so we do it with you guys. So I'm just going to do this through a graph editor. And I will come back and get y'all as soon as I fix the hair a little bit. Okay, so I'm back, and it's not perfect, but the hair is at least, not clipping through him anymore. So I want to get this animation back into Unreal Engine. And I'll do a separate video just for the specific steps on how to get the animation and rig in here, but this is just to show you the workflow. So the workflow, I've got the animation fixed, it's all there. I'm going to just select my hierarchy of my skeleton. At this point, because I've already loaded in the meshes and everything, I don't need anything else. I just need the animation on the skeleton. And I'm going to re-export that out right over my previous file. Now, sometimes I do double files, an A version and a B version, so I always have the last version, and I just flip-flop between the two. And I can show you how to load those in even with the different file names inside Unreal. But for now, let's just go ahead and export our selection. And then what I like to do, if you can see this well, is under, let's go to animation. Under animation, I have my anim FBXs. These are where all my animations go. Anything that goes into Unreal Engine will come from this folder. So I come here, I got my basic movement, and I've got my run. I'm going to go right over the top of front here. You can see version 1, it's set up for me to be able to do a 1-2 flip-flop as I get into fine-tuning this animation. So over here, I'm just going to make sure in the export settings that I'm set to animation and bake animation, and that I have the right amount. So I actually only need 24 frames, so I'm going to switch this up to 24. And I don't need deformed models with this animation because it's already in there. So I'm going to export that selection. And after we export that selection, I'm going to jump into Unreal Engine. So I have my Unreal Engine guy right here. So let's actually, let's come into Content, Characters, Test, Animations. Let's see, Run, version 1. All right. Let's switch this guy out so we can see his whole body. Show, post-processing, eye adaptation, turn that off. Okay, so we got his whole body. So now if we look behind here, man, this is the same problem we were seeing in the other one where it's clipping through right there at the end. It's jumping down and back up. That is absolutely not what we want. But we already fixed the animation and we saved over the file. So with this one, all we have to do is hit re-import current animation. So I'm going to re-import that animation from the file we just made, and bam, it automatically updated. I don't have to go searching for it. And look at this weird head neck issue going on. Now this is specific with this mesh. I'm not sure what happened, but that's the type of thing that you're going to find as you're going through here, that you realize you need to go back and fix. And that will be a big process if you're not referencing your rigs. If I set this guy up the way I am supposed to set him up, let's go back to just the thighs. This shouldn't be happening. And you'll see here, we'll get more into this in a second. But I have different array elements to preview my segmented mesh, so I can do full mesh swaps, so I'm not having to layer skins on top of each other. So let's throw in a shirt here. Let's throw his head in. Yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be. Let's throw his feet in. Throw his beard in. Let's also throw his hands in. Cool. So I got my whole thing. You can see that in my actual meshes that I'm using, it's not really messed up. Just a little bit of issues up here, which I wasn't seeing a couple minutes ago. So maybe that's something we messed up when we went in there, which is why we used 2 versions. But okay, now here we go. We've got our guy, we've got our system. It's all seeming to work out well. The hair is no longer clipping into the back, so I'm happy with that. And we can move, from one thing to the next as we go. So yeah, that's the basic concept of using saved weight paints for making adjustment to your rigs. Then referencing files, so as you adjust your rigs, you don't mess up animations you've worked on. And then setting up a good folder structure with your FBXs, so as you go back and tweak animations and you do new things to it, or just simply fix issues like the weight painting issue I have in the shirt right here, you don't have to completely redo everything. You simply fix it, re-reference the rig, and send it back in. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you about how I created this segmented mesh so you can do mesh swapping, as well as the blueprints to get that put together in the game. So when I come here to my character, which look, we're not having it here. Let's see if the animation. Let's use animation asset, and let's go to run. Oh, it's popping in here too, so that's just something I didn't see, probably because of the slight color difference. But how are we able to do these kinds of things in here and get them all set up? So we'll do that in the next video. So I will see you guys. Y'all have a great one. Talk to y'all later.